Okay, so the next class of our diuretics is the mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist, and this antagonist we call as the in short form MR. Okay, so regarding the mechanism of action, our adrenal cortex it secretes a potent mineralocorticoid called the aldosterone, and this aldosterone it retains salt, that is the sodium and chloride, along with the water, and it increases the excretion of the potassium and hydrogen ion. But we want the reverse. We want the excretion of the sodium and chloride with the water, right? Our diuretics, what is the function of the diuretics? That is to excrete the salt with the water. But what this aldosterone do? This aldosterone retain these ions like the sodium chloride, and also it retain the water, and it excrete the potassium and hydrogen ion. So this aldosterone it exerts its biological effect by binding to the receptor called as a mineralocorticoid receptor, which is a nuclear transcription factor. So what our diuretics do? That our diuretics, these mineralocorticoid receptor antagonists, they bind to this receptor and thereby they prevent the action of this aldosterone. Okay. Now here the structures are given. The structures of the aldosterone are given. One is present in the aldol form, like somewhat the aldehyde form, and the another one in the hemiacetal formation. Another one is in the formation of the hemiacetal. So this one is the open form, and whether this one is the closed structure form, where over here this carbonyl group it form hemiacetal with this aldehyde group. Okay, so results in the formation of the hemiacetal. These things were you have studied in the carbohydrates in the same three carbohydrate hemiacetal and hemiketal formation. Okay, so this is the structure of the aldosterone. So this aldosterone, what they do? They retain the ions and water, and also they excrete the potassium and hydrogen by binding to the mineralocorticoid receptor. So we have to prevent the binding of the aldosterone to these mineralocorticoid receptors. So our drug do these kind of things. That is our drugs, the diuretics drugs, that is a mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist. They bind to this receptor, that is a mineralocorticoid receptor, and thereby they prevent the action of the aldosterone. The other mineralocorticoids they have an effect on the electrolyte balance of the body, but aldosterone is the most potent agent. Its ability to cause increased reabsorption of sodium and chloride ion and increased potassium ion excretion is approximately 3000 fold that of the hydrocortisone, a substance which antagonizes the effect of aldosterone could conceivably be a good diuretic drug. So there are two agents like the spironolactone and the eplerenone. These are the mineralocorticoid receptor antagonists. They competitively bind to this mineralocorticoid receptor and they prevent the action of the aldosterone. Now these drugs they are also classified as the potassium sparing diuretics. The potassium sparing diuretics is the class 4 diuretics which is there in our syllabus. So the mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist agents they are further classified into the potassium sparing diuretic class, right? Of course, they are classified into potassium sparing diuretics because uh, they increase the concentration of the potassium, as these are the antagonists of the aldosterone. So what they do, they reverse the action of the aldosterone. What aldosterone do? Aldosterone retain the salt and the water. Aldosterone retain the salt and water, and it excretes the potassium and hydrogen ion. So our antagonist agent, the mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist agent, that is the spironolactone and the eplerenone, they reverse the action of this aldosterone. So what they do? They excrete the salt and water. They excrete the salt and water, and they retain the potassium and hydrogen ion. Right? Then the next, so the first agent of our mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist is the spironolactone. Okay, so spironolactone. So the spironolactone it competitively inhibit aldosterone by binding to this not muscarine mineralocorticoid receptor, right? The spironolactone it competitively inhibit aldosterone by binding to the mineralocorticoid receptor, and thereby it interferes with the reabsorption of the sodium and the chloride ion and associated water. These MR antagonists, that is the spironolactone activity, it is depend on the presence of lactone ring. So this is the lactone ring over here. This is the structure of the spironolactone, and these are the metabolites of the spironolactone. The one is the candrenone, and the another one is the candrenonic acid anion, right? So this one is the lactone ring, which is present on the 17th carbon of this pregnant ring. Okay, so this is the lactone ring. So the MR antagonist activity, that is a mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist activity, it is depend on the presence of a lactone ring on carbon number 7 and substituent on carbon number 7 in spironolactone and structurally related compound. So this mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist activity, it is totally depend on this substituent which is present on carbon number 7, and also it depends on the lactone ring which is present on the carbon number 17. So in SR point you have mentioned these two things, that is these two groups are essential to show the activity, or there should be a substitution on the carbon number 7 and carbon number 17. So which kind of substitution? That is on 17th carbon there should be a lactone ring, and on carbon number 7 there should be this acetyl thio group should be present over there. So then and then it shows its diuretic activity. Then the interaction of carbon number 7 unsubstituted agonist such as aldosterone. So if we check the structure of the aldosterone in the previous slide, right? So in this structure there is no any substitution on this 17th carbon. There is no any substitution on this 7th carbon. So the interaction of C7 unsubstituted agonists such as aldosterone, if there is no any substitution, then it can act as the agonist to the MR receptor. So interaction of the C7 unsubstituted agonists such as aldosterone with a methionine residue in the MR ligand binding domain is important for the receptor activation. So these agonists such as aldosterone, it react with the MR receptor, but on MR receptor they interact with the methionine residue. So there is a methionine residue in the MR receptor. So with this the aldosterone will interact and show its agonist activity. However, this interaction is sterically hindered by C7 substituents on the aldosterone antagonist, right? As we have provided a functional group on carbon number 7. So if there is no functional group, then it can act as an agonist. But there is a presence of a group on carbon number 7. तो वहाँ पे ग्रुप होने की वजह से क्या होगा कि जो भी अपना स्ट्रक्चर है वो प्रॉपरली रिसेप्टर पे जाके फिट नहीं होगा because of the presence of a substituent on carbon number 7, right? So if there is a substituent on carbon number 7, then it can act as a aldosterone antagonist and thereby leaving MR in an inactive conformation. Okay, so वो जो भी receptor है, that is a mineralocorticoid receptor, तो वो inactive conformation में छोड़ देता है. Okay, so the most important renal site of these receptors, and hence the primary site of action of spironolactone is in the late distal convoluted tubule and the collecting system. Wait for a second. Okay, sorry. So the where these agents, that is the spironolactone, it act on the structure of the nephron. So these spironolactone agent, it act on the late distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct. So these are the major sites of this agent, that is the spironolactone agent. Hope you can understand. So to summarize the spironolactone, what actually spironolactone is? Spironolactone is a mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist, and also it can come under the class of the potassium sparing diuretics. So this spironolactone agent, it antagonizes the action of the aldosterone by competitively binding to the mineralocorticoid receptors. So there is a mandatory criteria that there should be a lactone ring on carbon number 7 and there should be a substituent on carbon number 7. Okay, if there is no any substitution on carbon number 7, then it can act as an agonist to the mineralocorticoid receptor. Okay, then it can act as an agonist to the mineralocorticoid receptor. But there is a presence of these substituents on the carbon number 7, then it cannot properly fit to the mineralocorticoid receptor, and thereby it inactivate or thereby it leave the mineralocorticoid receptor in an inactive conformation. Okay, and these are the metabolites of the spironolactone. The spironolactone is metabolized into the candrenone by adding the by hydrogenation reaction. The two hydrogens atoms are added in between the carbon number 6 and carbon number 7 to form the candrenone, and later on it forms some ions by the oxidation reaction. It forms this kind of the carboxylate ions. So this is the candrenic acid anion. So these are the metabolites of the spironolactone. Now this spironolactone is co-administered with a potassium depleting diuretics, because the aldosterone, what aldosterone do? Aldosterone excrete the potassium and hydrogen ion. So we want the excess concentration of potassium. So this spironolactone is co-administration with a potassium depleting diuretics, example a thiazide or the loop diuretic, to prevent or treat diuretic induced hypokalemia. That is, this thiazide or the loop diuretic, they increase the concentration of the potassium in the cells. Now this is a structure of the spironolactone, and this is how it is numbered. I think if you have studied the steroids, then in the steroid structure we have number this pregnant ring. There are 3 to 4 ring, guanine ring, then pregnant ring, then androgen ring. One more ring is there. I forgot the name. So this one is the pregnant ring. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 rings fuse with each other. This is the pregnant ring. So this ring is number like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 15, 16, 17. Now this one methyl group is 18. This methyl group is 19. Then the numbering to the lactone 20, 21, 22. Likewise, these rings are numbered. Check out properly. You will understand how the rings are numbered. Now this is the pregnant ring. Okay, pregnant ring. Now there is a double bond in between carbon number 4 and 5. So it is called as preg 4-in or 4-pregnin, because of the presence of a double bond in between carbon number 4 and 5. It is called as a 4-pregnin or preg 4-in. Okay. So now we will nominate the structure. So as we know, there is a acetyl thio group on carbon number 7, but this group is present in the dotted form. Okay, so we can call it as a 7 alpha acetyl thio. 7 alpha acetyl thio. Then 3 oxo. Always remember one thing, as always I told you that you have to follow the alphabetical order. So we follow the alphabetical order as we have started with the acetyl group. So 7 alpha acetyl thio, then 3 oxo, then 17 alpha, because there is a double bond, 17 alpha preg 4-in, 21 17 beta carbolactone. Now what is this 21 17 beta carbolactone? That this carbonyl group and this oxy group is present in between the carbon number 21 and the 17. 21 and the 17, and hence it is called as the 21 17 beta. Beta, what is the beta? That this carbon is attached to this oxygen by a rigid bond. So in steroids, if there is a rigid bond, then it is nominated as a beta, and if it is a dotted bond, then it can nominated as a alpha. Okay, then it can nominated as a alpha. So this is the IPC nomenclature of the spironolactone. And the second agent of the mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist is the eplerenone. Now eplerenone is a newer drug that came out of efforts to develop spironolactone analogs with reduced adverse effects. Of course, each and every drug what they have discovered, so they modified the structure of the previous structure to overcome its adverse effects. So the eplerenone is developed using the spironolactone analog to reduce the adverse effects of the spironolactone. In addition to the lactone ring and the C7 substituents, they have added a epoxy group in between carbon number 9 and the 11 of the pregnant. In between carbon number 9 and 11 of the pregnant. So this is the epoxy group. Like spironolactone, this drug binds to the MR and is an aldosterone antagonist. However, this drug having 20 to 40 fold lower affinity for MR when we compare with the spironolactone. This reduced binding is believed to be due to the epoxy group. The reduced binding is believed due to the epoxy group. So what is the sentence? This drug, eplerenone, it has 20 to 40 fold lower affinity for the MR than the spironolactone. This reduced binding is believed to be due to the epoxy group. Nevertheless, eplerenone is an effective diuretic and has a certain therapeutic advantages over spironolactone. So again, because of the presence of this epoxy group, this drug, the eplerenone drug, it cannot bind to the MR receptor and leave the MR receptor inactive. But still, this drug is 20 to 40 fold having lower affinity to the MR than the spironolactone. And these are the metabolites of the eplerenone. All the drugs are metabolized into the liver by the CYP3A4 enzyme. So, this is the first metabolite, that is a 6 beta. Again, check out here is the rigid bond, hence we can omit it as a beta. So, 6 beta hydroxy eplerenone and 6 beta 21. Now, here is the 21 carbon, 21st carbon. So, hydroxylation occurs on the lactone ring and this 6 position on the pregnant ring. So this one 6 beta 21 dihydroxy eplerenone. So they form in the mixture. So either these metabolites are formed or these metabolites are formed in the mixture of 32% and 20.5%, 8% and the 7%. So which metabolite, that is the 21 hydroxy eplerenone 8% and the 3 alpha 6 beta dihydroxy eplerenone. So these are the metabolites are formed after consumption of the drug called as an eplerenone. तो कहाँ पे hydroxylation होता है? That is either on 6 beta, then on the 21st carbon, or at the 3 alpha position. Okay, so these are the metabolites of the eplerenone. The eplerenone has good oral bioavailability, and unlike spironolactone, it only undergoes limited first pass metabolism. Absorption is not affected by the presence of a food in the GI tract. In plasma, it is about 50% bound to the plasma glycoprotein. Eplerenone has a half-life of approximately 5 hours and undergoes extensive metabolism by hepatic CYP3A4 to the inactive metabolites. So all the metabolites, what are the hydroxylation occurs on the 3rd position, on the 21st position, on the 6th position. So what are the metabolites are formed? So all these metabolites are the inactive. Combination with the potent inhibitors of the CYP3A4, that is the ketoconazole or the erythromycin, can alter the eplerenone pharmacokinetics. So, of course, these metabolites are inactive. So, once these drugs is metabolized into these metabolites, then there is no use of that drug. So, what we have to give? We have to give this drug, eplerenone drug, in combination with certain CYP3A4 inhibitors. So, if we inhibit the CYP3A4 isoenzyme, then its metabolite is not rapidly formed. So we have to give this eplerenone drug with certain CYP3A4 inhibitors like the ketoconazole or the erythromycin, and thereby it prevent the rapid metabolism of this eplerenone. Okay, and this is the theoretic application of the spironolactone in the eplerenone. It is used alone or with other diuretics for the treatment of the hypertension or the left ventricular systolic dysfunction, and also they are used in the CHF after myocardial infarction. The single daily oral dose is around 25 to 50 mg. So in therapeutic application, you have to remember only 2 points, that these drugs are used in the treatment of what? Hypertension and the